And it's time for another episode of Justapod, and this time it is the head man of the Plymouth Panthers in his 11th season. It's Tim Schultz joining us. Hey, Merry Christmas and soon to be Happy New Year. Glad you could join us on Justapod.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
So, a lot of people may not realize this. I've been covering Plymouth Panther football on the radio for what's currently called Cow Country Radio for the last 13 years. I think I started in 2013 during the playoff run. So you're a guy that I actually see almost every Friday night during the football
Yeah.
season, and that's always fun catching up with you and all the Plymouth Panther football players. Of course, Dan Knaus, longtime football coach there, he retired. Mark Volbrecht took over, and we're obviously going to talk a lot about basketball today. But you have a lot of football guys on your basketball roster. And one of them, of course, is your leading scorer and your son, senior Kayden Schultz. And we can briefly touch on him. What a football season for him, a wide receiver, defensive back, very skilled on the football field. He has to step in for one of your other basketball players. Augie Eigenberger breaks his collarbone on October 3rd. Kayden does an unbelievable job stepping in at quarterback. Talk about his athletic ability. And by the way, congratulations to you and your family. Kayden heading to Michigan Tech to play basketball. But talk about what that football season looked like, and maybe talk about all the talent on your basketball roster that were main contributors to the football program this year.
Yeah, it's a great thing at Plymouth where we really, the coaches support each other. And we realize that, in a school, there's only so many athletes. So we really work hard on making sure that these guys are as multi-sport of an athlete as they can. And this year we just had a lot of guys who are on the basketball roster, as in the past, that are also football players. And for me, it's awesome because you know that they're coming into the season. One, they're going to be in shape, hopefully healthy, which was an issue this year a little bit. But they're also in shape, and they've also competed um, throughout a whole fall season. And Plymouth has had a successful football program for a few decades now with playoff runs. So you know that they're going to be well coached. They're going to enjoy playing with each other, and they're going to be prepared for whatever competitive thing we're going to come across during the season. With that, again, going back to the injury end, we did have Augie Eichenberger, unfortunately, broke his collarbone playing football. So he missed a few of our early season games and is still working his way into, basketball shape and basketball, getting himself up to speed with everything. And he's doing a great job with it. But then Kayden had to step in and take over as the starting quarterback when Augie went down. And, you know, the dad in me says, go for it. Awesome. Great. The basketball coach in me had a little bit different take on it. But when he came home after the first practice and he said, I'm going to do this, it's going to be great. I'm going to do this for the team. And I think we're going to do good things with it. I'm like, go for it, have fun, and whatever happens, happens. Um, so it was a little bit extra being the basketball coach, watching him out there at times and taking some hard hits at quarterback. But he enjoyed it. I think he did pretty well at it. So it was a great experience for him. And then furthermore, he was playing football with a lot of those guys, like we said, that are on our basketball roster. And they are. You come into a season and they are connected to each other. It makes it a lot easier to build that team camaraderie, a team feel to it when guys have been around for each other for a whole previous season.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always thought about doing the broadcast for that football program. I always thought to myself, wonder what Coach Schultz is thinking right now with his son out there playing. And that was before he became the quarterback this year, because you always think about injury. But I think at the end of the day, and you would agree with this, you just got to play. I think if you're thinking about injury, I don't care what sport it is, you just have to play. Injuries are part of the game. It's going to happen. Could Kayden easily have said, you know what? I'm not going to play football. I'm going to concentrate on my basketball career. And he could easily went that route. But I like the fact that kids are able to get out. And a lot of your guys are probably three sport athletes. And I just think that's a big piece of your high school career. You only get one shot at your high school career, and I think you got to take advantage of that. But yeah, it seems like you got some good camaraderie here with these football players that are very good at basketball. 4-2, you guys are so far. We'll get into the conference a little bit. You change gears from the East Central Conference after 10 years of playing in that conference. Now it's the Glacier Trails Conference you get into, and you beat one of those Glacier Trails teams the other night, West Bend West, 72-56. A little bit with your coaching history. You've been at a couple of other schools. You're from Plymouth originally, but you coached at Sheboygan South for 8 years, and New Holstein before that for 4 years. But talk about the uh, taking over this Plymouth program, 11 years. It's amazing. It's been 11 years. I've covered basketball down in the Sheboygan County area along with Plymouth football, but it's been a number of years. And I know when you were first coming into coaching Plymouth, I was kind of heading out covering basketball. 2017 was my last year covering games down in your neck of the woods. But just talk about these last 11 years and maybe your career as a whole coaching to give everybody a little overview.
Well, it's the 11 years has gone really fast. And before that, I was an assistant for 2 years as well after I left Sheboygan South. Coaching at Plymouth to me, is a complete honor. Guy who graduated from there, played there. I've spent a lot of time in that gym. To know that we're past a decade of being the head coach already, it is kind of mind-boggling how fast time does move. Um, but being before that, I spent 8 years before that at Sheboygan South as a head coach, and we had some ups and downs as you're going to have at the school. It's just kind of the nature of Sheboygan South. But at the same time, we won conference titles there. Went to back-to-back sectional finals, and accomplished a lot with a lot of really good kids. And what that taught me there, being a coach, was overcoming adversity, working hard, sticking to what you believe in, and good things will end up happening. And we were able to do that with the conference championship and those back-to-back sectional finals. And before that, then I spent 4 years at New Holstein, and was really a young coach who wanted to try to be a head coach and see if this is something I really wanted to do. And New Holstein is where I completely dove in, and really, really enjoyed my time here. The 4 years there are really, as I look back at it now, are pretty special. Another thing with a great group of guys, hardworking kids. And when I left there, I kind of felt like I left maybe my best potential team there too when I graduated. So when I eventually, they would have been what I thought would be my best overall team. So when I left there, it was a little hard, but it was time to go on to the next challenge. So being at Plymouth, it's the hometown, being a graduate, played for the program. I remember being a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid, and my brother, who was 9 years ahead of me in school, was forced to babysit and drag me along. And standing there next to Frank Shady, who was the coach, and saying,
Yes.
if you really want to do this, this is a lot of fun. You should look into doing it. And in that very same gym, I'm sitting there now going, wow, it's kind of like a little bit of a full circle type of thing.
Yeah, that's great. You bring up Frank Shady's name. Actually, I got a chance to talk to him. I covered some of his teams at Oshkosh North, and I didn't even realize it until I talked to him one day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've coached at Plymouth. That's kind of where I got my start." And now
Right.
he's got a field house named after him at Oshkosh North High School as one of the more winningest coaches in the state of Wisconsin. But you guys, 18-8 a year ago, 10-2, you win the East Central Conference. We got to start with your kid, obviously, Kayden Schultz. He is one of the premier scorers in all of the state of Wisconsin, really. He averaged 28 points a game. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Coach Bowers at Kaukauna in his first year there, currently coaching his freshman son. Talk about coaching your son and the relationship on and off the court, and just some of the memories that maybe you're creating and have created here coaching Kayden, and maybe talk about some of the challenges, if there are any, with coaching your son at this level.
Well, I've actually coached two sons at this level. I have an older son who graduated 2 years ago,
Yep.
and Kayden and my son Tanner. played on varsity together when Kayden was a freshman, sophomore, and Tanner was a junior and a senior. Um, and really, they've been around basketball with me forever in their lifetimes. Uh, Tanner was at his first game when he was 4 days old. Kayden was at his first game when he was 7 days old. They went to all the practices. They were the water boys. They were in the locker room. So the memories created are immense. I coached him in the summer, coached him in youth stuff. Um, and I've always taken a tact, and I asked a much wiser, older coach than me one time, how are you going to go? How do you coach your kids? How do you coach your sons, especially at the varsity level, especially in high school? And the greatest piece of advice I got was, you quit coaching at the first stop sign.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, the first stop sign is in the parking lot. And as soon as you hit that stop sign, it's done. You're a dad. You're not a coach, and you have to separate those two. And I really took that to heart. And I don't know, I don't always do a perfect job of it, but I've always had that in the back of my head. So after that first stop sign, if they bring it up, okay, let's talk. But other than that, the relationship as a father and a son is way more important than me as their, player to coach. Um, and I think we've done a pretty good job of it. You have to ask both of them uh, what they think, but I do think we've really worked hard. Or I have worked very hard to try to keep that separation. Um, the memories, are immense, especially if you take a look at Tanner was successful in his own right as a high school player. And then Kayden, I think at a younger age, you could see that he had an advanced skill
Yeah.
that went beyond his years. So he was able to come in as a freshman, start, play a lot, be all conference. And then, last 2 years as a sophomore and a junior, conference player of the year, all state recognition. And he's earned it. He's worked at it. My boys will both, I hopefully say that nothing has been given to them. They both had to go get it. I was in, just because I was a head coach, they didn't get any free passes. So I think to me, the memories that I'll have will be not so much the the games, the things that went on, but the little time spent in the backyard being a rebounder and passer, little things here in practice at times, just sitting back and able to watch them. I think I've had a unique seat to see a lot of the inside stuff, and actually, with all the hard work that any high school player puts in, but especially the stuff that Kayden has put in to put him at the point where he's at right now.
And obviously, he's a big piece of what you guys do. He takes a majority of the shots. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking at these numbers this year.
Yeah.
This is not just about Kayden Schultz. You have a roster of guys that can really shoot the ball. In fact, 48% right now as a team from the field. But let's start with one of your senior backcourt players, Max Hill. He's been very solid this year, 13 points a game. Just kind of run through the starting lineup here a little bit, but uh, give us the fill in here in the story of Max Hill.
Well, Max is where we thought he would be as a senior. He is physically matured, mentally matured, and he's taken on the role in our offense is exactly what we want him to be. Max is the type of guy. Kayden is the other, where they have the green light. They've earned it. They're smart shooters. They're good shooters. They've put the time in, and the results are starting to come. I think for some people, they look like, where did Max Hill come from? And I've always been like, he's always been there. It's just that maybe a little bit physically, a little bit mentally, he wasn't ready for it yet. But now as a senior, he's really taken that on. And not only is he scoring, he's rebounding pretty decently for us, and playing some decent defense as well.
Let's talk about Augie Eigenberger. We already talked about his football injury. How important was it to get him back? Now he's played in 3 games, and wow, what a start. I mean, he's right back in it, 17 of 29 from the field, averaging about 14 and a half points per game. From an athletic standpoint, probably one of the better athletes on the basketball court. I saw it during the football season as well. Very quick, can move. Talk about his game a little bit.
Yeah, Augie is he's just consistent, and he's very deceiving, I think, to guys. Um, it doesn't look like he's moving that fast, but yet he is. It doesn't look like he's
Hmm.
that strong, but yet he is. And he puts himself in positions where he can get he knows where to get on the floor. And he also is smart enough that if he can't quite make the play happen, he can make the extra pass. He can move the ball. And defensively, he's kind of the same way, where it's like, boy, I can beat this guy, and then you can't get around him, or then he's getting rebounds. So he's really just he's really a truly a gamer type of kid, um, who it's taken some time for him to get back from injury. He was out 10 weeks from from the day that he broke the collarbone and he came back. It was exactly 10 weeks, and he's still trying to find that comfort level. You're going to be a little bit gun shy at times on maybe diving for a loose ball like he used to.
Yeah.
But he's not far away from being super comfortable out there. And Augie he's important. If you see, we have 2 losses on the year, and I don't know if it's that much of a coincidence that those 2 losses came when Augie wasn't playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. Only a junior. Let's talk about one of the other football guys, a tight end, Charlie Nass, who, big physical kid, shooting it very well. Also, 57% double digit scorer, just about 11 points per game. Talk about Charlie and what he gives you in his 6 starts. He started every game so far this year.
So Charlie is a little bit like Augie as well. So, and what I mean by that is, like, last year they were sophomores on varsity, and in some regards we threw them both into the deep end because we needed to. Like, you're going to figure this out. And now the comfort level is there. They're 2-year varsity players, both of them coming off of a successful football season. And with Charlie, I think he may have, I don't know if he'd admit to it, had a better football season than maybe he initially thought he would. And he has some confidence without a doubt coming in. And he's stronger. He's always been a confident shooter. So what he's doing right now really doesn't surprise me. His form looks good, everything in practice, but now it's the comfort with the game speed that he may not have had last year, he has now. And you're seeing it with his feet being able to get set to quicker release. Um, and he's been a great guy to have, especially when Augie was out. And he's just that additional shooter that other teams have to keep an eye on and have to know where he's at.
16 of 31, by the way, for Charlie from 3-point range. So he is a threat, obviously, as you just mentioned. A youngster here, Joey Anhalt, 6 starts for him as well. And this is a good young group of talent. You got a couple of really good juniors, and now this sophomore, Joey Anhalt. Talk about him and his game.
Well, Joey would be that example of like Augie and Nass last year, where we had to throw him in the deep end. Joey's getting thrown in. He provides the one thing that we really lack a lot of is overall just size. And Joey had a great football season as a lineman, and did a great job for Plymouth on the football field. And he came in this year, and he had worked in the offseason at his stuff, and we're trying to get him, defensively. Okay, things are moving a little quick for him, but at the same time, he's rebounding. He's finding, his spots to get a shot. He has a real nice shot, real nice touch with it. And he has been an anchor at times for us in a positive way that, okay, Joe, we need to make a play, something down low. You need a defensive stop. And he's getting better and better each game. And that's what we're looking for, is that daily improvement.
And another football kid. I know we've been football heavy, but this kid really had a nice season on the gridiron, I thought. Aiden DeMonk, and he's carrying that right over into the basketball court. Now, he only averages 4.5 points per game, but he does a little bit of everything. When you look at the numbers, 3.5 rebounds, leads the team in assists, 5 per game. Almost the stat stuffer, right?
Yeah.
Stat sheet stuffer. Aiden DeMonk, talk about his game.
Yeah, I think if you would visually watch Aiden DeMonk out on the floor, you'd be like, okay, we don't have to worry too much about him. But what he is, and it's really deceiving, you talked about the offensive numbers, is defensively. He has, I would say, probably the last 2 years been our best defensive player. We ask him to get out there and defend the best offensive player on the other team, and it doesn't matter size. He just works, and he will get after guys, and he never quits. His motor never stops. Even when he's exhausted, he still wants to be out on the floor. And what he's been doing this year is, he finds the open guy. He has a knack. He sees it. And then he'll go in there and boom, he'll take a shot, and he'll get to the free throw line. Our last game against West Penn West, he had a double double. He had 13 points and I think 11 rebounds. And
Yes, he did.
going in, I think their scouting report probably didn't have much about him offensively, but he
No.
played a great game, and he, along with the two other seniors that we've talked about, in Kayden and Max Hill, they've done a great job of senior leadership. We have one other senior, Magnus Blad, who was not on the team last year as a junior, but is as a senior. But those three guys in Kayden and Augie and Max Hill, they've either been, this is their third year of varsity, or in Kayden's case, his fourth year of varsity, and they've been great leaders on bringing these younger guys along and showing them what it's all about.
And generally, how deep do you go? So you already mentioned one of your players there, Magnus Blad. How deep do you generally go?
I mean, we'd like to go 9 to 10 guys per game, but it's really getting the guys, making sure that guys are going to be comfortable when they're out there. And sometimes with the younger team, it takes a little while for those guys to go through the practices, see the games at game speed, the energy that's needed. So 9 to 10 guys is the preferred way we've always wanted to play.
Yeah, looking forward to tonight, by the way, as we record here on Friday. I'm going to have the game tonight, so we're going to have the live video stream. It'll be Plymouth and Xavier. So looking forward to seeing you
You bet.
this evening and checking out your ball club. Should be a good time tonight at Torchy Clark Gym as
Yeah.
we're visiting with head coach Tim Schultz here of the Plymouth Panthers. And real quickly, as we wrap up here on the Justapod, let's talk about the new conference, the Glacier Trails Conference. The football team will be going to it next year. Maybe talk about the additions. I know Sheboygan South comes over, and both West Bend schools are involved in this conference. But talk about your initial thoughts on the Glacier Trails.
The number one thought is travel time is awesome. We're
Yes.
we're not making the long trips. In fact, we get coach buses for away games, a few away games every year, and we really struggled. We get 3 coach buses to find in our schedule where we would use 3 coach buses. Where in the past it was a guarantee. We're taking one to Berlin, we're taking one to Winneconne, and then somewhere else. So
Yep.
the travel alone, and these kids being able to come home during the week from a road game, not at 10:30 at night when they arrive back at Plymouth High School, but it's more like 9:30 or even quarter after 9, with some of the drives, is tremendous. Um,
Yep.
with that, it's always good to me, you move into a new conference, you see schools maybe you haven't played before or played a lot in the past. In our case, we've played a lot of these teams before. They've been on our non-conference schedule. Um, so it isn't a completely new surrounding for us to go into. I do miss the coaches that you get friendly with from our old conference, without a doubt. But that travel time is massive, and really something that we as coaches, and I think the players and parents, are really going to enjoy as the season goes along.
Yeah, there are some familiar faces, are there not? A
Yeah.
lot of the teams that were in the East Central did carry over. Obviously, Sheboygan South leaves the Fox River Classic. How do you see it stacking up, though? Obviously, you guys are going to be right into the mix. Kettle Moraine Lutheran,
Mhm.
according to the preseason prognostications, which I don't pay a lot of attention to, but they had Kettle Moraine Lutheran right there in the Glacier Trails, probably picked first, you guys second. Port Washington, always a pretty strong, historically strong program. But how do you see this 7-team league kind of shaking out?
Well, I'll say this: we were very happy with beating West Bend West the other night. I think West Bend West is an underrated team. They're extremely well coached. Ryan does a tremendous job with them over there. So they're going to be a dangerous team for that team's really got to watch out for. But then, you look at KML, Port Washington. Port Washington's loaded with seniors. So that experience should help them immensely. KML is always really good. We always have great games against them. It's almost guaranteed every year we have an overtime game with them or something that goes down to a buzzer. So it's always fun going against them. Sheboygan South, they have a lot of seniors and a lot of experience. So our first game against them, we were able to knock them off at home. It's going to be more of a challenge the next time we go there. And with us, I mean, we have the biggest thing that we talk about a lot with our guys is our record doesn't matter. We don't care about the wins and losses. Are we getting better?
Yeah.
And I call it, it's not winning and losing, it's winning and learning. And it's a long season. And we're very comfortable in saying, yeah, if we come out and we win a game, great. If we lose a game, okay. But if we lose a game and we've competed to the best of our ability, what else can he do? So it's
Yeah.
really about being competitors. And in the end, then all those wins and losses, it'll all work itself out. So it's no big deal. If you would ask a guy from our program right now, you see him tonight, what's our record right now? More than likely, what they're going to say is it doesn't matter, and
Yeah.
that's our
I like
common
that.
thread that we say.
Yeah.
So it's you can get caught up in that, the rankings and all this kind of stuff. I don't even know what any of those mean. It's great. Maybe it's a recognition of your program and doing well, but rankings to me are just whatever they are. Predictions for conference are whatever they are. It's just getting out there and playing and letting things happen. And I think
Yeah.
our guys do a really good job of that, and they understand what we're asking of
Yeah, games are not won on paper, and
them.
I don't put a whole lot into the polls, especially November, December. Basketball teams, and I've always said this about basketball, teams in basketball change so much from when they roll the balls out in the middle of November until February 28th, let's say. Teams change dramatically during that time
Yeah,
frame.
and why would you want to be playing your best basketball in November and December?
You
You want to
don't.
learn about your team and what they're all about, and then you get in that January, middle of January, you want to start. You're climbing up the hill, getting towards your peak, and then you got to
Absolutely.
stay healthy. You got to stay away from sickness, and maybe we've gone through ours now early season.
Sure.
You got to hope that's the case. In all likelihood, it's probably not, but that's where it's at. But I agree with you entirely. Like, get your best basketball in later on in the year.
Yep, no doubt about it. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, Coach, and good luck tonight. We'll see you tonight.
Yeah, you
Xavier
bet.
Plymouth.
You
Should
bet.
be
Thanks, Greg.
fun.
You bet.
Absolutely. Yep. Tim Schultz joining us here on Justapod. And if you want to watch it, you can go to the Just a Game YouTube channel or go to justagame.com where you can see these podcasts. And also you can get statistics and standings and everything else high school basketball related at justagame.com. And we're also on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts as well. So that is going to do it. I want to thank Tim Schultz for joining us on Just a Pod. And until next time, my name is Craig Bowen. We'll have Lee Rubbis up next, the head boys coach at Neenah High School. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon down the road here on the Just a Pod.